Another Friday is upon us. The Enochian adventure continues. Today we're going to continue in the Air of Air section of the tablets. We'll be conversing with SOAS, S-O-A-S, who is the third entity in the Air of Air section on the Air tablet. Let us begin. Teach me, O Creator of all things, to have correct knowledge and understanding, for your wisdom is all that I desire. Speak your word in my ear, O Creator of all things, and set your wisdom in my heart. Amen. Behold the ring! Lo, this it is. This is it, wherewith all miracles and divine works and wonders were wrought by Solomon. This is it, which philosophy dreameth of. This is it, which the angels scarce know. This is it, and blessed by his name. Yea, his name be blessed forever. Without this I shall do nothing. Blessed be his name that encompasses all things. Wonders are in him, and his name is wonderful. Pele. His name works wonders from generation to generation. Amen. Behold the layman. As the holy table conciliates heaven and earth, let this layman which I place over my heart conciliate me to the holy table. Amen. Pa med fam med drux fam fam ur ged graf drux med graf graf med or med gal ged drux. Pa drux un tal fam don ur graf don or gissig gon med un ged med graf van ur don un. Pa drux ur don ur drux un med graf med graf sef ged or mals fam un. Pa gon med un graf fam mals tal ur pa drux un van un med un gon drux ur. Pa med fam med drux fam ur ged graf drux med graf med or med gal ged drux. Pa drux un tal fam don ur graf don or gissig gon med un ged med graf van ur don un. Pa drux ur don ur drux un med graf med graf sef ged ur mals fam un. Pa gon med un graf fam mals tal ur pa drux un van un med un gon drux ur. Pa med fam med drux fam ur ged graf drux med graf med or med gal ged drux. Pa drux un tal fam don ur graf don or gissig gon med un ged med graf van ur don un. Pa drux ur don ur drux un med graf med graf sef ged ur mals fam un. Pa gon med un graf fam mals tal ur pa drux un van un med un gon drux ur. Pa med fam med drux fam ur ged graf drux med graf med or med gal ged drux. Pa drux un tal fam don ur graf don or gissig gon med un ged med graf van ur don un. Pa drux ur don ur drux un med graf med graf sef ged ur mals fam un. Pa gon med un graf fam mals tal ur pa drux un van un med un gon drux ur. Pa med fam med drux fam ur ged graf drux med graf med or med gal ged drux. Pa drux un tal fam don ur graf don or gissig gon med un ged med graf van ur don un. Pa drux ur don ur drux un med graf med graf sef ged ur mals fam un. Pa gon med un graf fam mals tal ur pa drux un van un med un gon drux ur. Pa med fam med drux fam ur ged graf drux med graf med or med gal ged drux. Pa drux un tal fam don ur graf don or gissig gon men ud ged med graf van ur don un. Pa drux ur don ur drux un med graf med graf sef ged ur mals fam un. Pa gon med un graf fam mals tal ur pa drux un van ud med un gon drux ur. Pa med fam med drux fam fam ur ged graf drux med graf med or med gal ged drux pa drux untal fam don ur graf don ur gesig gon med un ged med graf van ur don un pa drux ur don ur drux un med graf med graf sef ged ur mouse fam un pa gon med un graf fam mouse tal ur pa drux un van un med un gon drux ur. Med gon gissig don ur van ur don ur med graf med don ur don med gissig van ur graf med gon gissig don ur van ur don ur med graf med don ur don med gissig van ur graf med gon gissig don ur van ur don ur med graf med don ur don med gissig van ur graf med gon gissig don ur van ur don ur med graf med don ur don med gissig van ur graf med gon gissig don ur van ur don ur med graf med don ur don med gissig van ur graf med gon gissig don ur van ur don ur med graf med don ur don med gissig van ur graf med gon gissig don ur van ur don ur med graf med don ur don med gissig van ur graf. Gales, Gethog, Thauth, Holdwin, Ilnon, Ayoth, Galethog, Zafkiel, Zedekiel, Kumael, Raphael, Haniel, Mikael, Gabriel, El, Me, Ese, Iana, Akele, Azdoban, Stimkul, Iler, Demal, Heoa, Biegia, Stimkul, Es, Ab, Ath, Izad, Ekeye, Madimi, Esemeli, An, Ave, Liba, Rokle, Hagonel, Ilemas, Sabathiel, Zadkiel, Madimiel, Selemiel, Nogahel, Korabiel, Lavaneel. Iad, Maz, Zir, Iad, Bab, Zna, Iad, Sor, Gru, Iad, Ser, Osf. Mikma gohop hiad zir konsel Azien biab os Londo. Nors cis orthil gigipa undul cis tapuim ke mosple telok ke in totor cis cisige. Im ozien dist brigda od torzul li el ol balzog od ailathiln os neta ab de luga vomsag lonsa kap mi ali vors klahomil kakoseb fafen ezizob od mi noag de gnitab vaun na eiel. Pampir ma prigi kausig pild noan unala balt ad vuan do o iap mad go holor gohus amiran mikma ehehusos ka kom ad do o a in noar mika ols a ayom kasarm gohia zakar unigleg ad im ua mar puglo plapli ananiel koan. Ol vinu od zakam, ilsga, SOAS. Od lanch vorsgi iad gohus pugo ils nisso ad darms. Dujap, exarp. O dujap, oro iba eospi. O dujap, bata iva. O dujap, Abiorio, Aozoif, Hitmorda, Ahaiospi, Hiptoga, Od Ototar, Odujap, Idiogo, Odujap, Ardza, Olvinu Odzakam, Ilsga, SOAS. While last week it was predominantly squares in a tesseract fashion, This seems to be more triangular. Almost like the Star of David symbol, but more predominantly the upward facing triangle, reminiscent of fire. But this is highly transitory. It's not static. It's shifting. I ask the proper pronunciation of the name. I'm giving SOAS. SOAS. I ask under which domain this entity operates, and immediately it's healing. What sort of healing? How specifically do you relate to healing? This entity works from the outward in, like peeling an onion, taking away first the outer layers and then slowly getting into the inner layer. The entity last week seemed to be dealing with the roots of the problem, and this seems to be almost the opposite, working in the opposite direction. So coming from that which can be seen and peeling it away until you arrive at that which cannot be seen. This is similar to, I'm being shown a Russian nesting doll. So you have the problem that you can see and perceive. You remove the one layer and you have another layer of this problem. You remove this layer and there is another layer of the problem, and so on and so forth until you've taken the last layer and gotten rid of it completely. So how is this useful for people? This entity works with you in a fashion where you can see tangible result. Working first with the problems that are closest to the surface, one is able to see them be resolved and feel them fall away. Progress is noticeable. Whereas other entities may work from the root level, and progress may not be noticed for quite some time, as it takes time for these roots to dry up per se. This is cracking away at an egg and exposing the yolk, and then removing the white from the yolk, and then finally dissolving the yolk. Often I'm shown pictures, so I just describe what I see. So that was very clearly to me an egg being cracked and the white separated and the yolk there and then dissolved. Asking for general advice or information for anyone who is watching. And immediately I am hit with awareness. Be aware of problems in your life. See them. Don't be afraid to perceive them and look upon them. And as you gaze upon them, eliminate them. That's not always as easy as just this word, but sometimes it is. Say, for instance, there is a problem in your life that is causing you emotional distress. As an example, being in the workplace, being around a coworker who is very annoying and always picking at you and trying seemingly to undermine you at every step and every turn. This is something you can see and perceive, and it is evident, and it is causing you stress and trauma. Instead of seething under your own skin and in your own mind, Address the issue directly. Do not be afraid to share words with the individual that is causing you distress. Not so out of hostility, more so out of love, forgiveness, respect. In attempting to dismantle the situation, you will find more often than not that you are able to correct it. And as you correct this surface tension, you may notice other parts of your own psyche that you need to correct after this is taken care of. For example, continuing with the coworker analogy. Someone is causing you stress or trauma at work. You have a conversation with them, and this stops. But then you notice yourself reacting in a similar way to other people, seemingly with there's no connection, but you still get that same visceral response. Now that you've corrected the outer layer, there is another layer, and this is a layer within yourself that you must correct. You are reacting, and your reaction is based upon other programs, let's say, that are embedded into your own mental processes. So which process is giving you this hang up? Evaluate yourself. Look deep within and find it and dismantle it and go layer by layer until you no longer have this reaction from people addressing you in this way or allowing them to bother you at all. In this, the breath can be very helpful. It is a common adage to stop and take a deep breath when confronted by something that upsets you. And this is not to be taken lightly. It is not simply a saying. This has truth. This has power. The breath can allow you to control your emotions and take better control of your reaction. If one were able to establish deep breathing on a regular basis, most of life's petty annoyances would no longer be a thing. As with other visions, I have colors associated with this. It took me a while to settle on them as this vision is highly fluctuating. This is green and purple. It's almost like the animated Joker from the Batman series colors. Like that type of, kind of like a dark emerald green with the darker purple. And they're in balance. There's not one color that is greater than the other. They're in balance. I'm being shown another example of breaking away the layers of a problem. And this is relating to a pet. I'm being shown a dog that has fleas. In order to fix the problem, you first have to get rid of the fleas. There's no other way to do this. Now, there are multiple ways to go about this. You can bathe the dog, you can give the dog medication, etc., etc. But until you get rid of those fleas, you cannot assess other aspects of the problem. Perhaps the dog has skin issues that attracts the parasite or something of the sort, but in order to address that, you must first remove the parasite. I don't know if that helps to clarify anything for anybody, but that's what I was shown, so I'm just speaking what I see. I've just been given a very clear example of how to apply this in my own life, but it is of a personal nature and I will not relate it. But I may be silent for a few moments as I investigate further. There's another visual associated with this that greatly helps to clear this up for myself. And this is of a plant. And the plant represents the issue or the problem or the conflict. In order to fully remove this infestation, for lack of a better word, one must cut off the leaves so that the plant can no longer feed. The leaves being the outer aspect of the problem. By cutting off the leaves, you remove this entity's ability to feed and sustain itself, and so its essence will slowly retract into its core. And layer by layer, you can snip off more aspects. You can trim the branches back and back and back until you get to the root ball. And the root ball can no longer pull any sustenance in from its exterior portions, and so it crumbles and dies, and the problem falls away. SOAS. I've asked for any additional information, but there is really nothing forthcoming. As always, I ask, what can others do in order to perform this exact same ritual for themselves, to open a line of communication with these entities? And the answer is very, very similar as all the rest have said. Just come with an open mind and an open heart. Come not out of selfishness, but come to learn. Lay your questions and your desires at your feet, and they will be taken up by the entity, evaluated, and given back to you, answered and fixed and complete. And if the motivation is true, there is nothing that will not be answered. And as always, I may stop reiterating this in the very near future, but all these entities seem very emotionless. They're just very matter of fact. You ask a question, you get an answer. You ask a question, you get an answer. There is no judgment. There is no looking down upon or anything like that. It's merely just a conversation. As I have no further questions and no one in the room with me to ask additional questions, I will release the entity and return. Thy name be mighty, O God, which canst open the veil whereby thy all-powerful will may be opened unto men. Power, glory, and honor be unto thee, for thou art the same God of all things, and art life eternal. Amen. felt shorter than usual. I'm not as disheveled. Normally I feel a little more like almost intoxicated, but this isn't as bad. Not that it's bad per se, but it's just highly disassociative. But I feel pretty good. Well, I suppose that concludes week 3. We will finish out the Air of Air section of this tablet next week, and then we will move on to Earth of Air. Thanks for watching. See you next week.